Hi, my name is Precious. Welcome to another section of Know Your Right campaign. And today we are talking about university formal process. And today with me is Elisha, who is one of the our advisors here at the Students Union. So before we go into what we have today, can you tell us a little bit about you, Elisha?
About me?
Yes.
Okay, so hi everyone. Like Precious says, my name's Elisha. I am part of the advice team, but I'm primarily in Stafford as the Students' Union site manager there. So I see a lot of students within health professions and different things like that. And I'm also here in Stoke often as well. So I see all of you and I deal with a wide range of advice areas and also university processes that we're talking about today.
Thank you very much for calling me into that. So what are the university processes that every student should know about here in Staffordshire?
So there are quite a few. They're all similar but different to each other. So first of all, there's academic conduct. There's fitness to practice, fitness to study, and complaints. So they're around about the main ones that we deal with as an advice team. We deal with all of them. If there is anything else that happens to you during your studies, we can advise on all of the university processes, but they're the main ones that we advise on.
So could you kind of briefly tell us about what this process is like, what they are all about, just briefly?
Okay, so first of all, I'll go into university complaints. Normally students don't have any problems throughout their studies, but if you do run into any trouble and you're not happy with something or the university isn't providing anything, then you absolutely can put a complaint into the university and they will investigate your complaint just to make sure that you're happy with what's going on. So to raise a complaint with the university, what you need to do is ensure that it's within 2 weeks of the problem that's happened. That just means that they can provide a timely response and they can deal with the issue within that 2-week time frame before it gets a bit too long away from the actual problem, so that they can deal with it then. So when you first put in a complaint, it goes through the informal complaints procedure. So they call it informal because they like to keep it within the course team to begin with, or whichever team it is that you're complaining about. And they try and deal with it informally and come up with a resolution that everyone's happy with. Okay. If they come up with that resolution and you're still not happy with it, then you can go down the formal complaints procedure. And this is all done through Solve. So if you go onto Solve and type in complaints in the search bar, it should come up on there. We can advise on all of this. If you need any advice or anything, we could talk you through the whole process from start to finish. But yeah, if you go through the formal complaints process, it's basically the same as your informal one, but you're putting it in as formal. And then that will get investigated by an investigating officer from the regulations team. And then they will sit with you and understand the situation and go from there.
I'm sorry, I just want to ask a question. Like when you put in, when the outcome comes in and you're not really happy with it, and then you have to put in another complaint, which is like the formal process. Like, what's the duration? Do we have like a duration that you should put that complaint in?
What with
just the way we have the 2 weeks duration for informal one? Yeah. Do we also have a duration for the formal one?
It's also 2 weeks after the informal one's been resolved. If you're still not happy with how that's gone and you're not happy with the outcome of what's being discussed, then you just got to remember it is normally always 2 weeks. Yeah. Okay. So it's important that you remember that, so that if anything does happen, we can get it sorted as soon as possible. And we absolutely encourage you to speak with us as the advice team, so that we can have a look over any drafts of complaints and things like that, just to make sure that you've covered everything within that complaint, and then we can support you.
That's good. So you also talked about fitness to practice, fitness to studies, as well as academic conduct. Yeah. So could you also tell us what that is also entails?
Yeah. So I will go through fitness to practice and fitness to study. They're both quite similar. but one of them is mainly for NHS courses such as nursing, midwifery, social work, paramedics, OPD, anything like that. That means that you go out to placement and you're practicing as a professional.
So placement courses.
Yeah.
Okay.
So fitness to practice is when the university, the course team have concerns, or even maybe your placement have concerns about your progress, and they have some concerns that they'd like to discuss with you. So that could be anything from you're not fit to practice, so that's the whole point of fitness to practice, meaning you could be ill and they feel that you going out onto placement isn't doing you any good, and they're concerned about your health on placement. Or if there's something that they're a bit unsure about in terms of meeting the requirements for the university to happily sign you off as a professional, and you're not kind of meeting the criteria that they need, they will raise a fitness to practice just to kind of, to begin with, it's quite supportive, and they like to get your side of what's going on, if there's anything that you're concerned about. And again, like a complaint, that also involves an investigating officer. So you sit down with the investigating officer for maybe 2 or 3 meetings, where they just ask you about what's been happening on placement. And then after that, they write a report. And it could be that the recommendation on the report is that there's no further action, or you could need to do a written reflection, or it goes to a panel. And the panel is kind of the worst case scenario, but it's still got your best interest at heart, just to make sure that everyone is certain that you're okay to continue practicing. But again, please speak to us if you go through any of these processes, especially fitness to practice and fitness to study, because we can attend all of the meetings with you, so you're not on your own. Because it can feel quite daunting when there's people from there's academics and they're questioning you, and we can kind of sit with you and support you and give you an idea of what to expect during these meetings. So yeah, it's really important that you reach out to us about any of these processes. And I'll go on to fitness to study now.
Okay.
So much like fitness to practice, it's basically the same thing, other than it's not for students that are out practicing as a professional. So
it covers a kind of broader range of students. Yeah,
it covers a broader range of students. So again, that's just to ensure that if you're struggling with illness and you're not fit enough to be at university studying, because it's a pressured environment being at university, and sometimes it's not best for the student to be here. So the university just want to make sure that it's not doing more harm than good.
So it's just in your best interest.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels daunting, and it feels like your university life is in their hands, but often it's not the case. They just want to make sure that everything's being done in terms of support and everything, just to make sure that you're okay at university. So again, that'll go through different meetings with academics, regulations and panels, just to make sure that everything's okay and they're happy for you to continue at university.
Okay. Academic misconduct.
Yes.
Academic conduct.
Yes, academic conduct. So this is a bit different to all of the other processes that I've already discussed. So academic conduct is when an academic is concerned about the legitimacy of your work.
Yeah.
So that could be anything from they think that someone else has wrote your work, or you've used AI to do your work, or it's things such as contract cheating, and there's a broad range of what they
constitutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So the main ones that we see are if someone else has done your work and use of AI. If you get an email from an academic to say we'd like to discuss your academic conduct, don't worry. We can support you again. We can come to the meetings with you and advise you in an appointment about what to expect and how to prepare for these meetings. Usually you get a report to say what the concern is and if it's minor, major, or I can't remember the third one.
I think that's minor or major.
Yeah, minor or major. There is a third one, but either way, the minor one is normally your first accusation of like cheating on your work or anything like that, and normally that's a positive meeting where they just want to know that your work is yours, and then they can mark it, because if they don't think that it's your work, they're not going to mark it. So the conversation with the academic who's flagged the academic conduct is that they just want to be certain that you know that work inside and out, and they're happy to go away and mark the work as it's your work. So it's really important as well that if it is that someone else has done your work or helped you with work, or used AI, it's really, really important to be open and honest about it from the beginning, because then they can help you. Sometimes the outcome is, we'll do one-to-ones about how you can improve on your work and how you can use AI appropriately. So if you bury yourself into a hole and say, no I didn't do that, when it's clearly all copied from AI, then it's so important that you're just open and honest, and then they can support you moving forward. But again, like I said, we can attend the meetings, we can speak to you about any of the concerns. And going back to what I was saying, just the main point of especially academic conduct, fitness to practice and fitness to study is to be open and honest from the very beginning, because if you tell a few white lies here and there, it will get found.
Get caught up.
You get caught up in it, and then because when they look into things, such as when an investigating officer has a look at either your fitness to practice, fitness to study, even complaints as well, they do speak to other people that could be witnesses, and they do get all of the evidence together, and that could include emails, Teams messages, anything like that that's of use to back up the situation. If there is anything that's a bit misleading, then they will question it. So it's so important that you're open and honest, and it goes in your favour as well, because it's not like you're hiding from anything, and that's what you want to prove. You want to prove that you're good enough to be on the course, you can do it, you can succeed, you can succeed in your course, and the university are happy to give you your certificate at the end. And that's the main outcome that everyone wants. It seems really, really daunting, but everyone wants the same outcome for the students. A certificate.
That's very, very nice. Thank you very much for such detailed, I said brief, but it's quite detailed, and all the information that every student needs is actually there. But I think another thing that I'm kind of concerned about, or I'm curious about, is how can we students avoid getting to this point? Is there anything we can do? I don't want to engage in fitness to practice. I don't want to engage in fitness to study, because it's actually a very traumatizing experience for any student to undergo that. So what can I do as a student to be able to avoid being in that situation?
So the main point I would say is, if you are struggling, speak to someone. If you're, say for example, you're struggling with an assignment, and then you're thinking, I could use AI just to write this for me, because they know what they're on about, and you haven't spoken to the course team about it, you've got the option to speak to people about any confusion that you've got, and it'll save you going through these processes, which are really, really daunting and scary, and it's not worth it.
It is.
It's so important. Just if you've got any struggles, speak about it, let them know, so that you can have that support. And it's like if you do become unwell, life happens. Even though you're at university, it doesn't stop things from happening in your life. If you become unwell and things are happening, speak to the course team. You could take a break and study if you feel that you're struggling too much. You could speak to them about your health, and they can put in reasonable adjustments for you to succeed and everything. So it's just reaching out for that support, really. It's so important, though, so that we can prevent these university processes from happening. And what I would say as well is make sure that you utilise exceptional circumstances, break and study, and everything like that. Utilise them because they're there for you to use and to make sure that everything's in order. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, it's just for you.
Yeah,
It's just for you. It's meant for you. Like I said in one of the, you've paid for it.
Yeah,
Technically,
Yeah.
so just enjoy it, maximize it to the highest. So when we talk a lot about in this process, be reflective.
Yes.
Be reflective.
Be reflective. Yes, that's a big
Then
one.
be
that I forgot to
yes.
check. So I'm pleased you said that, Precious, because that is a big one.
Yeah, be reflective. Be transparent. Like you've gotten to the point whereby you find yourself in that situation. Yeah, it's no longer an avoidance kind of thing. So I'm there. So when we talk about being transparent, being reflective as a professional, as an advisor, what would you tell a student in that situation at that point in time? Because sometimes it might be like, if I try to be transparent, I kind of see the things that happen, I might be perceived in a certain way, and I really don't want to be seen as someone. Yeah, do you get? So that's like,
definitely.
how will a student be able to channel, navigate all through that?
So it's like I said, be open and honest from the beginning, but it's also really, really important to show reflection. So if it is that you're going through a fitness practice, for example, and they've brought up a concern of an issue that happened on a placement, it's important to reflect on that situation and let them know what you would do differently now. And show understanding of how that affected a service user, for example, or how it affected other people's well-being. And it's all about reflecting on, if this was to happen now, this is how I would deal with it. Like, that's different from what happened before. And to be honest, these processes, they are quite lengthy.
Yeah, they are.
So they go on for a few months, and that is quite stressful. But it does give you time to reflect on the situation, and it's important to kind of take a step back and have a think about any improvements that you might have made, or you could go away and do some additional training. You've got that time during these processes, because there might be, say, 3 or 4 weeks between a meeting with an investigating officer. You could book yourself in for a training session about how to improve on a certain area, and take that time to really understand how your actions or how your health could have affected someone else. So it's all about that reflection as well, which is really important.
That's very, very key and very important. Thank you very much for that.
No problem.
Alicia. So there's this thing I keep hearing about: ask for help early. Ask for help early.
Yeah.
If there's anything, just ask for help early. So how can I, as a student, identify that? Because a lot of times I might feel like, I'm struggling at this point in time, but I'm like, let me just give it my shot. Let me just give it that push.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm trying to push myself, but sometimes at the end of the day, don't push too hard. So at what point in time do I think, as a student undergoing a particular issue, a particular concern, do I really need to ask for help?
So I think as soon as you feel that things are going a bit wrong, whether that be in your personal life or with your studies, if things are feeling a bit, I'm getting a bit overloaded with all of this now, or you're unwell, or you're really, really struggling, when you start feeling that things are getting on top of you, that's when you need to reach out for support. So I'd say your first port of call is the academic team. Let them know about your feelings and your thoughts, and also come to us, the SU advice team, and we can kind of tell you what the options are. The course team can do the same in terms of options, but if you kind of like to know maybe a little bit more in depth about the support that's there for you, that's when we can discuss all of the options, and it's so important just to get advice, have the conversations with the course team, and like I said before, utilise exceptional circumstances and breaks in study if you feel that you need that, because you don't want to push yourself too hard, because that's often when these things start occurring, and you drop the ball with things, and then things start building up, and sometimes you just need to take a step back.
That's really, really nice to really hear, because I feel like in my interactions with some students, a lot of students, it feels like, oh, okay, let me just do more, let me just see what I can do. And then it's more like you not being able to project what the outcome is going to be, and then you just keep doing, pushing and pushing and pushing, and instead of you asking for help that early to be able to navigate some things, you just allow it to just keep adding up and adding up and ending, and then you just crumble, and then you'd be like, shit, I'm in a deep shit. So that's very, very important for all of us to ask for help when needed. So any other thing you would want to tell us,
I think
students?
We've pretty much covered it all, to be honest. In terms of going back to just when we were saying about getting help early, it's so important because everything happens at once.
Yeah, it does.
Everything happens.
It just happens.
Everything happens at once. So please utilise everything that is available. So whether that be the wellbeing team to support you and your mental health, whether it be us as the advice team, your academics, even GPs, if you're struggling with your health, let the GP know, see if they can do anything, because I think people forget as well, just because you're at university it doesn't mean that things don't happen. Every student has given up a lot, whether that be personally, financially, everything, to be here at university. So it's so important that everything is utilised, and you're here to enjoy yourself as well. So it's all a bit doom and gloom with all of these processes and everything, but it's so important just to make sure that you are enjoying yourself. Get the support, speak to us if you've got any concerns. We can speak to you about anything in terms of what happens with university processes,
and how to navigate through
to navigate it. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Don't be afraid to reach out. I think that point. Don't be afraid to.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you very much, Elisha, for gracing us with your wonderful prizes in this section. Thank you very much. So that'll be all from us.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.